Grand Theft Auto 5 is old. This year it'll officially be 9 years old, which makes it the longest lasting Grand Theft Auto game in the entire franchise. The last game to last this long was technically GTA 4, the direct predecessor of 5. Lasting from 2008 to 2013, it was only truly available for 5 years before the 5th main entry took over. Now, 9 years later, there's no sign of Grand Theft Auto 6 or even its formal announcement yet. Instead, Rockstar has re-released Grand Theft Auto 5 a total of 3 times. Once for PS4 in 2014, again for PC in 2015, and most recently the hopefully final version on PS5 in 2022. Youch! Rockstar is notoriously secretive with their games and the development behind them. It took 10 years for us to find out that GTA 3 was changed after 9/11, and Rockstar neglected GTA 4 for 6 years after Games for Windows Live went down, only updating the game one time to remove the software from the game by disabling multiplayer in 2020. In this update, they also removed some songs due to the license for them expiring. Rather than them renewing the licenses, they just chose to let them expire because it was just cheaper. Yeah, money's gonna be a running theme throughout this whole thing. They opted to ignore this now underappreciated masterpiece that is arguably way better than GTA 5 in order to cater to GTA Online players. This is why GTA 5 was released on 3 separate generations, by the way. GTA Online launched just 1 month after the main game's release on October 1st, 2013. About a year later, the games will both be released on PS4 with updated visuals, more features, and new missions. In a span of a couple years, however, it would prove to be the best-selling game on both the PS3 and Xbox 360 despite the console's age and power limitations compared to the next generation versions already available. Most notably the Xbox 360 still using DVDs, but I digress. Fast forward to 2018. Rockstar prepares for another major release, a new entry in a franchise that hasn't seen any attention in nearly a decade. Red Dead Redemption 2 officially releases on October 26, 2018 to critical acclaim. This game also had an online counterpart, however that wouldn't be properly available for quite some time. Red Dead Online was released on May 14, 2019 and received generally positive reviews. But nearly 3 years since its release, the game has received only a few major updates, and the amount of players it had was a far cry from its cousin released in 2013. Even to this day, there's still nowhere near as many players, and this could be chalked up to maybe the beta period the game was subject to, from November 2018 to May 2019. It was rather confusing. The beta was only available initially to players who owned a special edition of the game, before slowly rolling out to all players. It was also the testing grounds for a standalone release in December 2020. This was to enable all players to have access to the game in some form, but I'm using that term loosely. The base game and the standalone online mode are basically the same game, it's just the paywall setting these two apart. For $20 you can access the online mode and the download size is 120 gigabytes, or for $60 you can get both the story mode and Red Dead Online and the download size is also 120 gigabytes. The difference is the standalone online version is really just a full game with the story mode installed and everything, but locked off by a $40 paywall. But I will give Rockstar this, they launched it at a heavy discount. Instead of paying $20 in full, they launched Red Dead Online at $5 only. Why not be free to play? Money. That's why. But what is the point of this paywall if you're paying for a game that's rarely updated? Money. That's why. Rockstar focuses on GTA Online because it has millions more players than Red Dead Online, so that means more money coming in and supposedly more maintenance necessary. I call bull on this though, because I play on PC and they're not monitoring the servers at all. They're completely ignoring them if anything. The amount of modders I see in GTA Online angers me beyond belief, and I'm not the only one either. There's always hackers in a lobby and you'd constantly have to jump around until you either find an empty lobby or one with no modders whatsoever. When there's no modders, everyone just coexists doing their own thing. But when there's modders, you might get teleported or charged $10 million randomly or get blown up remotely or get stuck in the ground and unable to walk or drive. The sky's the freaking limit with what modders can do just to ruin your whole day in a matter of seconds or just joining the lobby. You don't even have to say anything in the text chat. You're just gonna see buses blocking a diamond casino at random with no rhyme or reason, or if you're lucky, just a Kosatka sub flying through the air over Los Santos. I'm not making this up. Every single one of these things have happened to me. Fast forward to May 2020 and Rockstar reveals a trailer during Sony's PS5 showcase. First thing you hear is Michael's voice. It's Grand Theft Auto 5 again, and it was delayed. Fast forward once more to March 2022, Grand Theft Auto 5 officially releases on PS5 and Xbox Series X with updated visuals, more features, and new missions. Sound familiar? This exact same scenario happened almost 8 years ago on PS4 and Xbox One. The only difference was the PS4 isn't backwards compatible and the Xbox One didn't receive backwards compatibility as a feature until 2017, 4 years after the console launched. The PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are compatible with 8th gen games, and that includes Grand Theft Auto 5, the version that was released almost 8 years ago. It's the same game from 8 years ago. I'm not even going to segue into it, here's pros and cons. So of course, with a new release on new consoles, you'd expect newer features and some updates. This is of course the case with this game since Rockstar isn't the type to pass up new technology. We're gonna pretend it doesn't exist. So let's start with the pros. Number 1. Updated controls. The controls were updated significantly with some minor but necessary improvements on PS5 specifically. Rockstar made sure to utilize the resistive triggers on the DualSense properly. While driving, if you try to brake, it'll soft limit you to brake gently so you don't lose control, but you can push past if you absolutely need to. Vehicular controls in general will also feel much more responsive, with input times being brought down just enough to notice it. It seems unnecessary to do this, but this was desperately needed in this game. Number 2. Haptic feedback. While this seems gimmicky right now, haptic feedback is very important to immersion in games, and Rockstar uses it to the best of their ability. If you jump the curb, you can feel it on the side you jump the curb on. If you're off-road, you feel the uneven road underneath you through this feature. It's really simple but impressive, and although it's not as elaborate as, say, Astro's Playroom or Destruction All-Stars, it's still a notable attempt and the effort is visible. Number 3. The new main menu. So, the PC version has had a menu since launch, which was always pretty good, but the console version up until now has never actually had one. You either had to switch modes through the loading screen, pause menu, or switch wheel, but now since GTA Online is also available on its own, there's a new menu system which you can switch between online and story mode. You can also adjust the settings, migrate your game data from both games, and the online half of the menu acts as a hub featuring all new modes and free roam. Again, a simple addition, but necessary nonetheless. It's honestly better than the PC version since it doesn't lag and there's more to select from, plus it's aesthetically pleasing. Number 4. Updated visuals. Rockstar did deliver on one thing above all. They updated the visuals a good bit. The PS4 version runs at 900p at 26 to 30 FPS, and GTA Online on PS4 runs at 1080p at 14 to 24 FPS. Yes, it runs that bad. On PS5 in performance mode, both run at 4K 60 FPS. In fidelity, it runs at 4K 30 FPS with ray tracing and anti-aliasing enabled. And in performance RT, the game runs at 2K 60 FPS with ray tracing partially enabled. Each mode sacrifices something to either run at a better frame rate, resolution, or both. Fidelity, of course, sacrifices the frame rate to run at full 4K with all possible enhancements enabled. Performance disables these enhancements to run at 4K 60 FPS with no visible distinguishment from the PS4 version aside from the resolution and frame rate. And Performance RT is a compromise between the two, sacrificing the resolution to run at 60 FPS with some of the enhancements enabled. It's a surprisingly sensible system, honestly. I think the best way to demonstrate it would be to show you, so if you're watching this on a compatible display, turn the video quality all the way up to 4K 60. I'm gonna be straightforward with everyone. I completely left out Performance RT mode, and that's because I couldn't tell the difference between Performance RT and Performance. Like, it's just, I could not tell just by looking at the footage on my PC because I don't have a 4K monitor. I only have a 4K TV. So I just put in Fidelity and Performance. If you want to see Performance RT, there's gameplay of it out there, but yeah. So those are the pros. I will honestly say Rockstar did pull some good moves here with this re-release. It is impressive, and while it doesn't stress the PS5 to any major degree, it still shows how powerful the system is and how flexible it can be. But what about the cons? Okay, I'm not exactly short on reasons to dislike this version. I'm not gonna speed through this like last time. I'm gonna explain as much as I can here. Number 1, the car mirrors don't work. Yeah, this was the one big problem people had when this version was properly revealed. The rear view mirrors, both overhead and outside, don't work at all. They look like garbage plastic mirrors, and Rockstar had time to fix this, but they never did. We're not sure why they ignored this when it came to the ray traced visuals, but they did, and it looks jarring. Number 2, the character models have not been updated. Self-explanatory, the character models have had very few enhancements, if any at all. With the resolution being updated, you'd expect there to be character model enhancements too, but nope, not even one was touched up. Except for the textures, which have been notably cleaned up significantly, probably through AI upscaling. Number 3, visible pop-in. Remember when everyone had a huge problem with how small San Andreas felt in the Definitive Trilogy and how the game rendered distant buildings? Well, that game has an excuse behind it, the Unreal Engine. A common side effect of the engine is muddy distant models, and this can be seen even in Fortnite when using replay mode. If you look off in the distance, you can see how bad the buildings look from far, so naturally with those games using the Unreal Engine, of course that would be an issue that Grove Street Games can't fix. So what's the excuse for GTA on PS5? There's not even any muddy textures in the distance if you drive at a certain speed. They're straight up popping. Models spawn on the spot right in front of you, completely throwing you off. It's happened to me a lot, and it's not fun. Number 4, no new story mode content. Despite being rebuilt from the ground up according to Rockstar, there's absolutely no new story mode content. At all. Nothing new, full stop. It's all the same stuff. I haven't even heard any new songs whatsoever. They managed to ignore story mode yet again, even with a fully rebuilt version. In fact, it's still the same version, you can tell because they never update the damn garages with the special vehicles, a feature of which was actually in the PS3 version. What the hell? Rockstar, call it like it is. It's a port. An updated port, yes, but it's a port. Number 5, no free upgrade. I'll just summarize this with one simple thing. Both the PS5 and Xbox Series X are backwards compatible with their previous generation counterparts. So naturally, most game companies have utilized this feature to actually offer free upgrades. Rockstar isn't one of those companies. They instead chose to charge Xbox players for GTA Online and GTA Story Mode, either separately or together, and on PlayStation, only GTA Online is free to those with PlayStation Plus, at least until June. Once June hits, the games both jump up to $20 for GTA Online and $40 for GTA Story Mode. Pretty much, you're gonna have to pay either way. However, at least GTA Online's free on PlayStation, so there's a plus. That's freaking hilarious. And hey, at least it's not $70 like everyone thought it would be, so yeah, there's that. Number 6, still no word on GTA 6. I really do not want to sound like one of those guys. I seriously don't, but we have absolutely zero information on GTA 6 aside from being in development. That's it. We don't even have a rough release window, a teaser, and we have a haphazard reveal because Rockstar felt pressure into doing it. We don't have anything to go off of except rumors and potential leaks, which may not even be real. And all Rockstar has done is release a mediocre trilogy and put out the same game again from 9 years ago. I want to emphasize it's been 10 years since GTA 5 was revealed, back in 2012. No new information on its successor whatsoever. Nothing. Personally, I'll even take a spin-off along the lines of Liberty City stories. Just give us something. Don't re-release old games. Give us something new. Or even a remastered old game I'll take, honestly. Haphazard overdub. Properly. It doesn't have to be GTA 6, just give us anything. I'll take a port of GTA 4. We're sick of Los Santos and Sandy Shores. Give us Liberty City, give us Vice City, hell. A new Midnight Club game at this point would be acceptable. Just give us something to hold us over, and for the love of God, don't use Grove Street Games again, please. Bonus one, GTA Plus. I don't know why. I don't know what pushed them to do this, but Rockstar has put out GTA Plus, and it is a subscription service for GTA 5 on PS5 and Xbox Series X. I've never heard of a single more, I don't know how to put it, the dumbest way to not gain any money than to make a subscription exclusive to only PS5 and Xbox Series X. It doesn't make sense. even Bethesda didn't drop the ball that hard, because Fallout First or Fallout 76, as stupid as it is, it's not stupid enough to limit itself to just platforms. Like, to just not 2 platforms. It's for everywhere. Like, Fallout First is on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, which is understandable considering that's the best way to gain money from this already bad idea. Meanwhile, Rockstar put GTA Plus on PS5 and Xbox Series X exclusively. It is not present on PC, PS4, or Xbox One. It is only on these next-gen consoles, and it is on consoles that are not easy to find. This is the dumbest thing I have ever heard, and it only gets worse from there because the perks are not really good. You get $500,000, some occasional experience, and some kind of exclusive stuff, with not much changing really. All stuff, by the way, you get for free with the stock game. What is the point of this freaking service? It doesn't make sense. It's just a way for Rockstar to get more money, and even then, I'm pretty sure they're gonna lose money anyway. Usually, I would have some sort of like funny outro to finish this whole thing off, but point blank, the only thing I can say is I'm ready to switch to Red Dead. I can't. Like, Red Dead Online is infinitely better because there's hackers and stuff, but they're not as prominent as GTA Online. And not just that, the Red Dead player base is so low, I actually have a higher chance of coming into someone who's willing to help me progress, rather than someone who wants to troll me every 2 seconds just because they're bored. On that note, I'm going to end the video here because I am simply tired of this whole thing. I had to reinstall Red Dead on my PC and also GTA 4, and not just that, I had to import about 25 to 30 gigabytes of footage in 4K in WebM to my PC just to convert it to a freaking MP4. I'm done with this video. That took me like 9 hours to do in just a single day. Altogether, about 17 hours just to convert the videos. I'll see y'all next time. I got nothing else.